I was working this week with one of my coaching clients, and I asked her when we started the call how things were going for her this particular week. And she said to me that at first she was very numb and didn't feel a lot, but that this week she couldn't stop crying. And she said she felt like she was just going to cry forever. And even when all of her tears were gone and her eyes ran dry, she still cried some more. And she was amazed at how much crying she could actually do. And I think it's interesting because so many of us have spent so much time crying and letting the tears go and missing the people that we miss and wishing that they were here with us and wondering why this happened. And the thing we need to remember is that we need to let the tears flow, and that the tears flowing and us crying is really releasing our grief, and letting grief out is really important. Grief needs a place to go. There's so much emotion that's being welled up inside of you that the tears are inevitable because it has to come out. It needs somewhere to go. And what we want to be careful with is we don't want to try to prevent ourselves from crying. We don't want to push it down. We don't want to push it away. And it can be really challenging because it can make us feel like we aren't in control anymore. We can't control anything around us. We can't control how we feel. We can't control whether or not we're crying. And that can be really, really unsettling and challenging. So part of the process with grief, particularly when you're in the mode where you just can't stop crying, is looking to surrender and letting go and saying, yes, this happened. This is traumatic. I've lost someone very dear to me, and I gotta let it out. And I don't feel comfortable with this, but I'm gonna let it out. I'm gonna let the emotions go. I'm gonna let the tears flow. And I know that I'm going to get through this. And one of the techniques that I suggest that a lot of people like to do is to journal. And there's a couple different ways you can journal, but I know I found it really helpful to journal just to get some of the emotions out, because oftentimes you don't necessarily want to share them with other people, but they absolutely have to come out. The things you're thinking, the feelings you have, the things you're worried about, they all need a place to go. And so if you're writing them down, it gets them out. And you can choose what to do with it when you're done. You can, crumple up the paper and throw it away. You can burn it. You can keep it and you can read it later. But it does need a place to go. So let me know if you've journaled, if you think journaling helps. There's definitely some people that journaling helps a lot, and some people that it doesn't really seem to help. So it's definitely something that you want to try and see how it works for you. And remember, part of the process of grief is learning that there's things that you can't control as part of this process, and you have to learn to surrender. You have to learn to let go and to let grief move you and come over you, and know that you can handle it, that the waves are flowing, that the emotions are flowing, and that you're going to be okay. And when I was speaking with this client of mine, one of the things she said that I thought was really useful, and the thing that I love about her and I'm so inspired about her, is because she said, okay, realistically, here's the thing. She's had other events in her life that were really challenging, and so she knows what it's like to be challenged. She knows what it's like to rise and recover from something really devastating. But what she said was, well, I have one of two choices. One choice is to sit in my hole, to wallow, to suffer, and really just stay miserable. And the other choice I have is to sit in the pain, and these are her words, sit in the pain, work through it, and not let grief destroy me. So I want to ask you, are you sitting and being miserable, or are you choosing to move through grief and to not let grief destroy you? Because grief can destroy people. Year after year, if we're not working through our grief, grief can destroy us. And I talked before, I was stuck for 2 full years. Some people are stuck for 5, some people are stuck for 10. But some people never get unstuck. But you don't want that to be you. So the best advice that I can give you is to try to move through your grief now. And if you're challenged and you feel like you're stuck, send me an email, give me a call, leave me a comment below, and we can work through it together. But again, let the tears flow. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel the pain. And you're going to be okay. And you're going to get through this because there is hope. There is hope for your future. And I'm so glad that you're here. Please let me know how I can help. Comment below and keep going. My name's Catherine McNulty, and I want you to be grief inspired too.